Hello, welcome to Dissident Canada. My name is Tyler, and of course, browsing the Canadian political propaganda, I came across more news related to Mark Carney and the Liberals, because of course they're trying to create a narrative that Carney's good, or at least not terrible at his job. And the thing that came up was Carney's starting to crack down on crime. Now, I know this has been going on for a little while now. I want to believe there was a bill introduced into the House about cracking down on crime. I can't remember if it passed or not, or when it was introduced. But it's a law that didn't really need to exist for multiple reasons. Because the laws already exist. You don't have to rewrite law to be like, oh, mandatory minimums, which mandatory minimums are not a great idea. Most things with the justice system it's extremely nuanced, and if you really wanted to go into it, like each individual topic could be like an hour-long video plus, and you still wouldn't even scratch the surface of everything you would want to talk about. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm more talking about the political reasons behind this, because it very much seems like Carney understands that there are, at the very least, potential PR quagmires coming for him, if not something that's already extremely damaged his likability and his future need for votes. So he's doing things that seem out of character for the Liberals, but you have to remember, all politicians, the only thing they really, really care about is the continuation of their power, the continuation of their grift. Alright? For the most part. Yeah, yes, you've got politicians that actually do care, but this is Canada, and if you look at how corrupt the system is and how corrupt those parties are, you'd have to be pretty naive to believe someone like Pierre actually gives a rat's ass about someone, let alone Carney, who was airdropped back into Canada after doing his stint as the governor of the Bank of England, which was after doing his stint as the governor of the Bank of Canada, which was after being at Goldman Sachs. Like, you know? But the tough on crime, contrary to, I would presume, what most Canadians would believe here politically, is a popular stance, and it's only going to become more and more popular as the immigration problem continues to be left improperly checked, and as crime continues to be a problem that Canadians are facing. Like, I can't tell you now. Of course, this is anecdotal evidence, so it's not really good evidence. But you know, story times is always fun. But like over the last just 6 years, I'm not like it really just post COVID. Now it could be a propaganda thing. Who knows? Of just being inundated with, oh hey, this crime that's never really been a mass problem in Canada is now being reported upon, and it's a real problem if you dig into some of the crime stats. Like, one of them was what was I thinking of? The car theft problem, and you know, Canadian cars just randomly showing up in Africa all of a sudden. Like, it's like that like, I'm not going to say that car thieves weren't a problem prior to this, or even when I was younger, which was much prior to this time frame that I'm speaking of. But it was like it wasn't the, oh yeah, well, another car got stolen. Oh yeah, where? Oh, Brampton. So, anyways, like it never reached that point, and like I've become so jaded to it because I'm so used to seeing, oh yeah, there's a car theft ring in this area. Oh, there's a car theft ring in this area. Oh, where are the cars going? Well, they're going overseas. Like, it's not even the standard chop shop stuff that you would think, which to a certain degree can sometimes provide a beneficial thing to the rest of society. I know that's a terrible way to phrase it and to look at it, but if you look at what chop shops do, they chop cars apart and then they sell the individual components, omitting obviously that it's from a stolen car. So you get genuine OEM parts at a discount. Like, because there's a car manufacturing problem and you can't manufacture too many parts and the drive up prices and blah blah blah. A lot of issues with the car parts, especially nowadays with how unbelievable the business has become and just how screwed the car manufacturing business is globally, not just Canada, not just North America, like just globally. What was it? 100,000 jobs are about to be laid off from Volkswagen, right? It's them over in Germany, something like that, yeah. Anyways, if I can get back onto topic somehow, because I lost my point. Crime, being tough on crime is becoming popular. It's been popular for a while, but it's one of those, another one of those things that Canadians won't openly admit to, that, oh hey, cracking down on crime is like kind of what we want. And like you have this rise in crime, and you're still in a time frame where you start cracking down, right? You can look like the good guy instead of, oh, we're covering up my mistakes. It's, well, we're covering up the failures of the previous administration without saying, hey, it's the previous administration's fault, because it's the same freaking party. Although to be fair, if Carney came out and threw Trudeau and his entire administration under the proverbial political bus, I'd be okay with that. I'd actually think that would be a good, that's like objectively, that's a good move for him. Because it distances himself from Trudeau. It allows him to rebrand better and say, this is, it makes a more convincing argument when you say, hey, this isn't the same Liberal Party it's always been. We're actually trying here. Yeah, like it's not a bad argument to make. But let's be real. Carney's gonna maybe put 5% of effort into this. So you're gonna get crumbs when you are desperately starving. And Carney thinks that's okay. So, like, I'm not gonna say, oh yeah, pat Carney on the back for doing the bare freaking minimum. No, like, he still deserves to be held to task. What I am saying is, as I have maintained since Carney got elected, there is a special level of pragmatism that you really can't get in standard politicians from him because of his time at two different central banks. And it's going to be extremely helpful for his political aspirations and control over Canada, because he'll be able to say blue is blue one day and then blue is black the next day, and say it convincingly enough to a certain amount of the population, and with the mainstream media and propagandists giving him cover, he'll be able to maintain control for a fairly long time, even against like most political odds that are going to go against him. Like, the economy is rapidly turning negative. And when I say economy and when I say negative, I do not mean just, oh, hey, the S&P 500 is like 200 points down from all-time highs. Oh, it's going down, rah, 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 rah. Or, the loonies, I don't know what it is at the moment, but the loonies going down, the dollar's going down a little bit today. Dollar's more important than loonies, so I have that pulled up. Or, oh, oil's going down, therefore the no, I'm talking about the real economy. I'm talking about, jobs and goods and services and all that good stuff, and people's income, and how much of that income is being used for discretionary spending versus necessities. How people feel about the state of the economy. Do they feel great? Do they feel horrible? Like, basic. I'm also talking about private credit, which is rolling over, which affects the entire global system, because that is a contagion event. When private credit rolls over, it's a bad sign, because basically everything's invested in private credit. Banks didn't want to invest in things directly, so they used private credit to do it. You also have pensions also heavily invested in private credit shenanigans, which means that's your passive investing. And the only reason indexes are still up is because of passive investment. Passive investment hasn't rolled over. But you have this building potential of something as big, if not bigger, than 2008, going back, in the background of the financial system, and that's been brewing for a very long time, basically since the largest of consequences or openly the largest of consequences of 2008 were dealt with. So think like 2012, right? So it's quite a long time that the problem has been building, and now you're finally getting a real turnover. And when the economy starts to change for bad, political turnover rapidly increases. I also don't think it's like some coincidence that Carney really starts making a political move more publicly to deal with the crime problem, or at least pretend to, after Keir Starmer resigns, which was in part due to the rampant crime in the UK, which is tied to immigration there as well as here. Like, let's not lie about the situation. Immigration does play a big role, or the current mass immigration does play a big role in the crime problem. Okay? For multiple reasons. It's not just, oh, we're bringing in the worst of the worst, or, the more inflammatory takes of assigning ethnicity or race and being like criminal. It's not just any of those. It's a mix of things. Like, you also have the fact of you're bringing in people who do not give a flying F about this country. They're told a golden lie of honey and wine, and what they get is Canada's current state, which is nowhere near that. So, at least psychologically, it can be understood, not agreed with, but understood why some immigrants may feel entitled to do the crime. I mean, you also have the problem of, like, years and years of, oh, it's not really a crime if this ethnicity or race does it. It's justice. It's them recovering reparations for what was done to them by people who were never alive at that time and had no say or had no power in what was done. But then again, the left believes that the sins of the father are the sins of the son, so. Although, let's be real, there's a lot of people that believe that. Um, like, to be fair, I know, like, I'll give you an example where I could be said that I would do something like that. That would be with Bill Gates. Bill Gates' father, objectively a eugenicist. Bill Gates, objectively a eugenicist. Um, Now I don't technically believe it, because oh man, your father was this big believer in eugenics. You must be. It's not so much that; it's the fact that you dig into the crimes against humanity that you could levy against Bill Gates and Fauci, by the way, um, with their medical scams that they've run. And yes, I consider them scams. They may not legally be scams, but when you're giving mothers, specifically in Africa, an AIDS vaccine that has gone through um, illegal trials in America, illegal human trials and legal animal trials, and it's been an objective failure because the drug is lethal, and you're giving it to these people anyways. Like, it may just be you're committing some type of fraud where you're, injecting poison, and you're not doing it because you want the eugenics to come about. You could just be doing it because it's an easy way to make cash. But when it keeps appearing and it only goes one way, the eugenics argument makes a big sense. Just saying. Although, but man, like it's really not surprising when you've got like someone who compliments his father, right? Bill Gates has been up on his father, and then it's not surprising. Anyways, let me get back on topic. Like, the rebrand is a sham. Like, it's maybe a 5%. Is that good? Yeah. It's not the best. Like, I'll take anything that I can get that's moving the needle slightly in the right direction, even if it's just pure facade. Okay? Because eventually, with the way political give me a second here. Organize my thoughts. The way the political pendulum swings, it takes a lot of momentum, right? It stacks up slowly, and then it's all at once, like most things. So, if we're just stacking needles, I guess a better way to say that is if we stack hay, one individual, stalk of hay at a time, eventually it will become a pile. Then it will become very easily to say it is a friggin' mountain of hay. So, is it a step in the right direction? Yes. Will I give Carney, a little bit of credit, because this is basically against what the mainstream media has been propagandizing for decades? Absolutely. But it's not like it's out of the goodness of his heart. It is pure political. The man wants to be in power for a very, very long time. Therefore, he needs to do certain things for certain groups. Even white liberals don't like crime. But that's only when it affects them. Especially boomers. White liberal boomers, they're cool with crime as long as it doesn't affect them. Like, white liberal boomers don't care about crime, even when it happens to their kids, for the most part. That's how that is. So, and I am so surprised, I'll just add this at the ending, that Canada is in the round of 16. Like, Canada has made it into the round of 16 of FIFA. That's just... Although, I was looking at point standings the other day, and I feel the world should be incredibly ashamed that for points, at least this was the other day, there was a three-way tie between Mexico, Argentina. Those two make sense, all right? That makes sense. The one that doesn't make sense is France being up there. And that's because it's France. Every day I remember, even if it's a horrible day, it could always be worse. It could be, in fact, French. Anyways, with that note, I will take my leave. I will see you tomorrow for, right, Canada Day. Canada Day is the 1st. I always get this mixed up. Right, Canada Day is the 1st of July because the 4th is America. Happy birthday. It's your 250th. You have a clown show going on in your country, but then again, most countries do. I'm not saying Canada's any better. We just got a different clown show. At least yours is funny. Ours is just disappointing. Anyways, I will be talking about Canada on Canada Day. About more so about kind of what we need to do, and it's one of those things where we just need to kind of step back and take stock for a minute. And I think I made this video earlier, like a month or so ago. It'll probably have the same tone, but like it's remarkably accurate what we need to do. And it's not like it's an individual thing, but it's also kind of a societal thing, and I'm not entirely sure how we do it societally. Maybe if we just kind of all do it individually, and then we can... Anyways, that's Canada Day. Till then, have a good day.